Alrighty, welcome back to some more lower dumping of JD stuff. So as you can see over here, we got one over in here. We're going first over into the land of Eurasia, and we're gonna go back into the land of Mexico. Out over in here, we have some interesting little dynamic between the two. With all the differences and interesting little build up, at least for Mexico, and exactly how they got to that state by King start of 56. Hit the 650. Anyways, the East Asian Revolution and the Indo-China War. The impact of the Japanese Revolution spread beyond the seas, sending major shockwave to the international scene. Germany promptly recognized the new Japanese government and invited Japan to join the Second International leadership. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom and the nations of the British Commonwealth, which refused to acknowledge the government, had overthrown their long-term ally, the Japanese Empire. Sarah diplomatic relations with Germany for supporting the new regime. In North America, the Finland administration in the United States that would do diplomatic relations with Japan, becoming Japan's largest treaty partner and the primary support of its early economic development. At the same time, the American naval power declined. The United States requested that Japan eliminate the self-proclaimed federal emergency government that had occupied Guam. The States granted Japan a lease over the island. The Worker Peasants Navy Special Marine would subsequently land on Guam, bringing it under Japanese effective control. I got Japan Guam over here. Interesting little deal they got going on there. The Rouge will also split Japan former colonial power regime in Korea, communist anarchists led by figures such as Lee Woo-Long and Ho Han. Joining forward the blockading independence of the Republic of Korea in Manchuria and Taiwan due to their unique geographical and ethnic conditions, intends to be over the appropriate form of statehood, ultimately resulting in the establishment of the North Manchurian People Special District and the Taiwanese People Special District. Like a special these districts are, who the hell are those? I don't know, but these are special districts. In Vietnam, baby. Sorry. Vietnam. Anyways, the kingdom of Annam, reduced to puppet state Japanese capitalists, was overthrown by socialists led by Fan Bao Chu. I'm pretty sure that's Ho Chi Minh's real name. Something of someone else. And the Republic of Korea was proclaimed, however, neighboring Siam, fearing the spread of red influence, invaded Vietnam in 1937. With the backing of exiled Annam royal affiliate, Japanese capitalists and landlords. And after that, the Annam garrison, threatening the very swell of the newly founded state. So that's the Vietnam War. Initially, deep distrust over Japanese forces led Vietnam to attempt to fight alone. However, the Vietnamese people, struggled against the Siamese forces, which had absorbed most of the former Annam garrison almost in entirety. By early 1938, Vietnam stood on the brink of collapse and firmly requested Japanese military intervention. Japan issued an ultimatum at the time demanding unconditional withdrawal from Vietnam, extradition of former Annam affiliates, capitalist landlords, and the Annam garrison, and former organization of the Vietnamese state. When Siam rejected these terms, Japan declared war on June 2nd, 1938, on the side of Vietnam. This marked the first overseas war of the Japanese Workers' Peasant Army, later known as the Indo-China War. JWPA, that's the name. In this debut campaign, the JWPA demonstrated the common effectiveness inherited from the IJA. I figured that some holders from the pure Japan would still be over there. Based on what I see for the teasers and the stuff out here, I figured that some holdovers would still be there. But the coalition anti-Siamese guerrilla force carried is direct operating in Cambodia. There was widespread desertion by former Annam garrison soldiers who requested fighting fellow Japanese. The Siamese army was driven out of Vietnam and the tide of the war turned. When the combined Japanese and Vietnamese forces launched a counteroffensive, the strategic balance clearly shifted against Siam. I thought that was different there. Anyways, Burma entered the war on the Japanese-Vietnamese side under the pretext of the liberation of Shan State. Furthermore, Cambodia allowed the condition to maintain the monarchies, entering the covert negotiation with Japan and the key is ultimately revolting against Siam. And the Japanese-Vietnamese armies closing on Bangkok. The Chakri dynasty in general, such as Philbon, fled into the more mountainous regions. Civilian government in the capital under Treaty Myong declared Bangkok an open city and announced the establishment of the provisional democratic government and unconditional surrender. The Indo-China War thus came to an end with the signing of the Treaty of Bangkok, with terms were deeply humiliating for Siam. The treaty stipulated the recognition of the independence of Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, the secession of the Sun State to Burma, the conclusion of a mutual defense line between Japan and the Chinese states, including Siam. War reparations imposed on Siam, the abolition of monarchy, drastic military limitations, stationing the JWPA, and establishment of new government of Japanese supervision. In short, Siam lost its sovereignty, pretty much. Yeah, basically kind of like a puppet state. I was on anti-Japanese and anti Vietnamese riots erupted in Bangkok. These movements eventually merged with the remaining royalist forces in the north and evolved to the largest anti-regime organization in China, the Free Thai Movement. How will the Thai be free? Who knows? But I do know that these will be burning. Yeah, that's why. That's a dumb joke over here. That's why I didn't do it. Yeah, across the pond. Well, across the ocean, as it were. Across the pond, usually from like America to Europe and all that shit. We go over to the land here, with the land of broken heroes. Go down together. Hydration is important, people. Now over in here, we got the whole town over here. So in 1926, the Castillo War kicked off, caused by the anti-theistic reformers of the National Revolutionary Party (PNR) and its leader Aurelio Obregón. 1928, 2 years later, the American President Obregón is killed by Castillo sympathizer Voltani y la Mambila. Yeah, fucking took out like the fucking what was it called? I forgot the name. I forgot the name of the thing. I can't remember maybe. Anyways, from 1928 to 34, extraordinary elections called. Emilio Portes rise to power. His government works a little more than the puppet of Puerto Elise Calais. It was former second commanding for president of the Republic. Back in 1929 as well, the first Castillo War in appear victory for the Mexican government. For now, the rebels disperse. At 44, Calais is re-elected. Discontent starts to grow among the population, yet any kind of vocal dissent is put down violently. 36 over here, the start date of Red Flood. Civil discontent among the people piled over the outbreak of the violence along the southern regions. Support of the National Anti-Re-Electionist Party candidate, Vasconcelos, starts to revolt across Oaxaca and Guerrero. There is support from the survivors of ex-revolutionary groups, as the Baptiste, the D-List, Guilds, as well as numerous ex-Castillo combatants and other ground peasants. They have been taking the custody to bring a Pancho Villa start to serve support for its cause during similar uprising up north. Oh yeah, because he's a military dictator. It's been a bit since I must play Red Flood, because the whole update and all that shit. But I believe Pancho Villa is a potential fucking leader of shit. He is the leader of the one state up north. I forgot what the fuck it was called. Anyway, in 37, after months of battling, General Lazaro Cardenas into his victorious in Saltillo, paraded Villa across the city before execution, with the government back in the south sent into disarray. The only was not to plot for his own such as the throne. When there was small skirmishes with this put on the south, the fighting rages on. Separatist movements break off in Veracruz and Yucatan. 38, Cardenas and his followers sent the plan of sent up at the Catalina. Calling Calais' re-election and constitution began their march southwards. Fort Calais taken by surprise, able to deal with a double front by the end of the year. But Concedos entered the capital at the helm of the army. Calais is tried and exiled while Concedos remains on the throne. The military bloc representing Cardenas' two officials ignore a war machine maintained by the industry in the north. Even to prevent further bloodshed, both the recall election in which was considered triumphant, Cardenas relegates himself to spending the rest of his life up north, vindicating the candidacy as governor of Sonora. Also retired and former comrades of the general starts similar governments in even states. Little micro governments over here, local possibly has. From 38 to 44, Mexico opens up to the road each with allies and enemies of the rivals of nations. Figure the politician from France, powers the house of Vitalism, and the inspiration of the very regime that rules over Mexico are invited to explore the miraculous land. Almost hypnotized by the surrealist beauty of the landscape, several accords are reached further than the reborn industry of Mexico, and setting them to the Solar Observer staff probably. 1940, the national re-election line transformed into the National Reunionist Party in Mexico, the Partido Nacional Revisionista Mexicano, the PNRM. In 44, Jose Juan Cezanne de Blada is nominated as Vasconcelos' successor. Despite so, Alvarez Cardenas said the state separated from politics, refusing to run again for the PNR. Party focused to nominate Manuel Avelio Camacho in the landslide election at PNRM. He waited. The party is left to lick its wounds as sedition takes a hold in the party. Schism destroyed what was left of the old PNR, accusing the party of betraying its founding values. The Cardenas and socialists separate from the FPPM, the Federación de Partidos del Pueblo Mexicano, coalition of center-left and center-right, becomes the new ruling power within the PNR, also the PRI. So it's like I said, it's kind of like a centrist block over here, but for left and righters. 1949, I saw Operation Eagle, because that occurred in 49, if I remember from the lore. In the Congress, the PNR leads the first division between the Orthodox Pujalis, Vasconcelos, and Sanarchists and Christian Democrats. Gerardo Willero head the Vasconcelos strand, and everything was shared by the Manuel Torres Brito, who gained the favor of the two rival cliques being chosen at the Canada in the 1950 elections. Meanwhile, up north now mixing the Congress between the Spartakists and liberals, the opposition. The Zara Cardenas declared both sides of reactionaries. The N1 and his close associates began to exit north, the government is taken over by the oppositions. Of course. In 1950, Manuel Torres Brito beats PRI candidate Juan Vega Rodriguez. FPPM candidate Miguel Hernandez Guzman and PS candidate Vicente Lombardo Tolando. Sorry. Elements from across all the political sphere take over the streets of Mexico City. Calling the election a fraud, the crack on the government extremely violent, he does the wounded or dead. Damn. The Pieta Partito Socialista unites with the FPPM forming the Spartacus League. Although for now legal, the government keeps harassing the course if it fears to take over the nation. 56 to 52. At the years of unstable economic growth, the economic crisis rocks the country, which I think we read about during one of the events. Teaser, if I remember correctly, although might be something related to that. And in 1956, the start date of JD elections get hosted rapid pace decrease bruises for the jump. And how does the jump be? There's a teaser for that over here later on, but we're gonna, since this was loaded up over here, we're gonna see that for later. So yeah, that's the whole little teaser we got going on over here. We got that's Japan's little involvement into war in Indochina over here, and I'm proving their worth, as it were. In Mexico, having quite the time, as it were. Interesting times, as it were. Very much intrigued about how it's gonna pan out once we get content for that, because I really did say it over here that depending on certain situation, there are gonna be 5 paths in total, and they're all gonna be depending on certain factors that occur over the game. So I am quite curious about that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this little lore dump video over here. I like the little differences in perspective over here that provide a little interesting intrigue into the side over here. Like a little bit of war going over here. I like that. Make things quite interesting. So yeah. Till then, I'll see you guys later with whatever we got going on, and it's gonna be quite the time, at least for me.